Before we do, of course, we've got our this week's March Madness edition. Not sure what the date is if you're watching this on film, but here in this world, it's March and basketball season, if you like that kind of thing. So we've got a basketball-themed famous Ozarkers. No, but it's you're on the right track there, as a matter of fact. So you might know who these ladies are. I bet somebody's heard of them once I tell you who they are. The All American Redheads. Anybody ever heard of the All American Redheads?
Yeah.
Long-time women's barnstorming basketball team who started their life here in the Ozarks, down in southwest Missouri at Cassville. They were founded by a guy who was kind of a professional basketball barnstormer named Ole Olson. And Olson in the 1920s had his own men's team that toured around. If you don't know the term barnstorm, the Harlem Globetrotters are barnstormers. That's an old term that refers to traveling teams that go from town to town playing whoever they play. And barnstorming teams used to be much more common than they are now in baseball and basketball. Today, we've got the Globetrotters and donkey basketball, and that's about it, as far as the barnstormers go. But the Redheads were very popular back for many years. When I was a kid, I remember watching the Redheads play. They were, by that time, this was probably in the 70s, and they came to the little school that I went to. And by that time, they were more or less kind of a middle America phenomenon. They weren't traveling probably as widely as they once had. And the fact that they were playing in Violet Hill, Arkansas, tells me they probably, had passed their peak of popularity by that time. But they were still considered a big thing when I was a kid. And I remember there was this one big picture in the lobby of the gym that I went to, where I went to school. And it was a redhead. There was a girl who had graduated from our school who had become one of the redheads, and she was kind of the school hero. And I think she had died young or something, and so they had this big picture of her, framed picture of her out in the lobby of the gym. She's not one of these. She came along much later. This picture is probably taken in the 40s. It looks kind of 40s-ish. The car and the hairdos and stuff like that. But the All American Redheads were inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame just a couple of years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Were there any famous athletes that came out of this?
Oh, I'm sure. Well, within that world, I'm sure they were. I can't think of any right now.
It must have been
Yeah.
a huge turnover.
Yeah. I think. I believe Hazel Walker may have been a redhead, and she was a well-known basketball player. But yeah, they were during their heyday in the 40s and 50s and 60s. A lot of these women would have been quite well known. You didn't have to be a natural redhead to play for the Redheads. They could take care of that, and most of them, I'm sure, probably weren't.
Was the team ever integrated?
Not that I know of. You mean, did any black players ever play? I don't know that. I've seen lots of pictures of the Redheads all the way up into in the 1980s, and I never remember seeing a black player. Yeah. But, yeah. The All American Redheads.